8. And yeah, we're definitely 10 out of 10. Not going to let that sail through. His deck is like the one I was making. It's a nice idea. Now let's try to butcher this. Staying alive. But we're gonna have a lot of work to do to start poking away at that huge health total. The clerics uncommons are pretty good. Yeah, there's the I'm terrible at remembering card names. You know, I've been playing since like alpha. You'd think I'd remember card names, but I don't. But there's the 2/2 that gets bigger every time you gain health. That one's fun. All right, so we've got the bulky kill crew here, but no dreadlings to really make good on their ability. That's a Twilight Revenant. Oh hey, I think we have a way to make some dreadlings. Righteous Paladin and yeah, and the 2/1 Swift Strike with Life Drain are good. Let's Explosion that. Throw away a Dreadling. And then I'm gonna exhaust these 3. And I'm gonna swing in with the 1 to take 5 free points of damage. Just kidding, not free. Bulky's dead. Alright. And that health mountain gets comfortably higher. Ooh, there's the Righteous Paladin. So we have a bulky, but that's going to be 3/3, 4/4. Their turn, they ready. Hit those again. It's now a 6/6 swinging in. I'm going to let that through this time because I want to have a bit of a board presence. But oh my god, another Twilight Revenant. Feeling a little naked over here. $43, $44, $45. That health total just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I'm going to turn off this notice here since we have an active challenger. Shoku's Garden. Alright, so that helps a little bit, but that's going to grow beyond our ability to double block. Woo, we dealt points of damage and gained some health. So Twilight Revenant on its own is a 2-turn clock. It's a trap, double block this. Ivory Pawns would grow it and take them both out. So I guess we kill the thing we can kill. use our charge power because it's just sitting there. And only swing with the Dreadlings. And hey, look at that, the bulky did its job. They're under 40 health. Alright, so that is firmly in block or die. And that is rip the first dungeon room. Nikito's gonna move on. Okay, so that is a 15-15 Righteous Paladin coming at us. Blah, we're dead. Alright, so it is time to pull up the map again. Matches are best of one, so we're in a forfeit here. I need to know which room you want to go to next. I'll try whispering you in game here. 3, okay, as the answer. So we are going to the right to room 3 next. I will tuck away the dungeon map. That is room 3. Challenge. Format Immortal. It's this one. I missed that whisper, but I don't think it mattered. Challenge me when ready. I know you have to pick your deck and such. Okay. So, Kismet has decided we get to go first. This is a pretty good starting hand. We have turn 1 Chronic Madness, turn 2 Scheme or Spawn of Oathieg. So, our answer to all of that health gain this time is to ignore their health and immediately just try to slap their deck down. We are all in on destroying that deck. Alright, we're gonna scheme for... Yeah, we're gonna really be evil and scheme for Chronic Madnesses. And then we're gonna make you discard some cards. Dungeon Master may be more forgiving in the future with the use of what scheme targets, but it's been a long time since I've played this deck. And I don't remember exactly how broken it can get. Let's go ahead and Lunacy. Just keep the deck hate rolling. This also gives us information for what could be coming in future matches in the dungeon. So we've got rid of Decrees of Banishing, a Righteous Paladin, 1 Repel, bunch of shards. We have a Verdict of the Ancient Kings for a non-troop card. So now we have Spawn with a Verdict support to back up any removal that tries to hit it. Let's take away another couple cards. And Fifth Book of Daharsis. At the start of each opposing champion's turn, if that champion has 20 more cards in their crypt, this deals 1 damage to them, which really is probably pretty irrelevant for this matchup. But then also pay 3, search target opposing champion's deck for up to 3 cards and put them in their crypt. Oh, I had an opportunity to verdict that and I was being a dink and passed. So now we have to deal with 2 Righteous Paladins. Alright, so we have 36 cards to go. So, 5th book, its ability costs 3, so we cannot trigger that the same turn. But if we next turn, we would have the opportunity to cherry pick 3 bombs remaining in that deck and try to get rid of those. Yeah, I don't want you to have that. This time I will verdict. Because the idea of those getting bigger every single turn unchecked, devastating. So we're probably in trouble here. Used to play Jester's Cap from Ice Age in my brew. Thinking that's an MTG reference? Unless Jester's Cap is a piece of equipment. But so I think we want to ham on maximum deck removal and try to get some blockers here. Pray for spiders to chump and basically buy us. Hey, we got a spider. So they're down to 34 cards and they have... How many spiders is put in there? So there's still 4 eggs in that deck. But so we're going to block one of these to try to preserve our life total. Pray for spiders again. Oh crap. And basic one shot. We want to remove... let's see if this works the way I think it does. That's a thing. I can give us a spider, and I can take 2 of those out. Okay, that does work how I think it does, so we're not just straight dead next turn. Oh, just kidding. They had a kill. We're still dead. Just bad manners, slaughtering both spiders. Goes, nope, nope, you're dead. You're definitively dead. Alright, that is 2 decks defeated. Yukito on a roll. So let's pull up the map again. Rooms number 1 and 3 have both fallen. 12. Going for the challenge room. Okay. So, that one is... possibly one of the easier challenges, actually. Unless the combo goes off. The Avatar of Diamond. Which is from one of the 5 decks from our most recent dungeon prior to this one, the Shard Avatars. This is a mono diamond deck. So here you see the end game, Grievous Phantom, flight, transform each phantom you control into a Grievous Phantom. So we want to turn all of the lowly 1/1s that Ada can make into much sexier 5/5 flyers. And since I have the end game in hand, 4 shards and a couple pieces of removal, we'll go ahead and keep this. And a 3rd piece of removal. So for now, I guess we just sit back and wait to hit for something to come up prior to Grievous Phantom. Okay, Shard doesn't really help, but we could do worse. It does build us towards Grievous Phantom and add us charge power. So play Shard and pass. Not going to use repel on that at this point. There's definitely bigger threats. There's a second Grievous Phantom. Such Grievous, but no Phantoms. This deck does have other cards that can produce Phantoms, besides just Ada's charge power to try to get more value there. No other plays on 4. Alright. So we're gonna throw out the Cloud Speaker, which is a 0/4 with a 1-shot. Target troop you control gets +2/+1. That exists as basically a butt to gum up the board in the early game, unless it's immediately killed. And in the late game, when there's actually things flying in the air, then it can buff those up to help sail over for the win. Alright, so you can chip shot me all you want. I am not going to repel that, because we have better targets for removal. So I think we are going to bring this to justice. Just say, get out of here. Just kidding, we're not bringing that to justice. We're banishing it. I don't like having to use 2 sources for removal to get rid of 1 card, but there we go. So we're 1 charge away from Phantoms, 2 resources away from making them Grievous Phantoms. Alright, so we'll throw down Blessed Scout now. Blessed Scout is also kind of a stall tactic to help build towards Grievous Phantom, if you can get some 1 drops off of it. Which we are not going to do because it is to creative vanishing. Just letting you know the potential plays, you know, as they come up before they're immediately invalidated by Yukito's on-point removal. And we're on a 15-turn timer. Alright, we're going to try the whole Blessed Scout thing again. See if it works better this time. Sitting on a pair of removals and a pair of Grievous Phantoms. Oh, we're getting so close. So here's the deal. I'm actually not popping that until we get to 7, and they can be immediately turned into Grievous Phantoms. So a shard here would be just outstanding. Not a shard. So this could kill this, and then he'd pop. He can pay 6 life to keep it in play, basically. I think I swing with it. If you want to pay 6 life to take it off the board, well, is it really 6 life though? Because you're gaining 3. You're really only on net paying 3 life. No, yes. Because it becomes invincible, it deals the damage. This adds 1 to our resource pool. Ooh, that's good for next turn. Alright. Going to hold. I think we get Grievous Phantoms next turn. I am excited. This deck is actually going to finally get the combo it was designed for. Become Grievous Phantoms! Oh, that's so beautiful. Look at those. Ada's babies are moving up in the world. Now here's a Spirit-Bound Spy, which on Deathcry can turn into a Phantom. So now we crash in with all of those. If you want to let 3 Phantoms go through to take out one of those, you be my guest. Alright, pays the health total to make it invincible. And goes down to 8. Is holding 1 card in hand, which could be a Stone Skin. Let's test that theory. You got a Stone Skin? Grievous Phantoms. Probably have it here. Yep, we got 15 in the air. It's a 28 Swift Striker. And now you know, for this particular challenge room, kill faster than Grievous Phantoms. Ada has ascended. Alright, time for the Dungeon Master to do a little bit of BM, and we're just going to get rid of that. We hit a Bright Move and Brave, don't really need it. Well, Alpha, because we can. And everybody give Yukido a round of applause when they come back into the channel here for a valiant effort, clearing 2 rooms, being the first person to ever experience the full wrath of the Avatar of Diamond and the Grievous Phantom Wombo combos. And let me That's what I get for trying the bonus cards. Hey, they are tough. They're supposed to be hard because those are guaranteed prizes. You know, no matter how far else you go. So enter at your own peril. Now, I've updated the prize list. Okay, failed counter 5 because I'm carrying over some people's attempts from last week's dungeon. And we are going to add another Scars of War booster pack into the prize pool. Now, the rule on multiple challenges is that if you have challenged the dungeon before and lost, you are allowed to challenge the dungeon again. The only rule on repeat challengers is that I like at least one person to have played between challenge attempts. So if we have one other person fight the dungeon, then Yukido becomes eligible to fight the dungeon again if I do not have any other people currently interested in playing the dungeon. I do it that way just to kind of mix things up, and that way to make sure that an entire stream doesn't end up being just one person bashing face against the dungeon over and over and over again. Want to make sure that multiple people are being given an opportunity to play. So I'm going to throw up the let me know if you wish to challenge the dungeon sign again here. Again, the format is uncommon and uncommon only. So Natilic, if I'm pronouncing that correct, yes. Every single set is legal, just commons and uncommons. And I'm going to give folks a little bit of time here before jumping into things. Otherwise, usually my go-to is Evo in between challengers, because Evo is also best of one, so we can play an Evo game and then walk away from it after that. I do also use Evo as a cooldown, so if I was to play an Evo game against somebody and that game ends, and Yukido, for example, is the only person who actively wants to challenge the dungeon, then after that game I'd say, okay, Yukido, your cooldown's up, let's play again. But I'm imagining there's other people who would be able to throw together a deck of common and uncommon only cards to be able to challenge the dungeon. And I realize after the Friday update we probably have a lot of first-time viewers. Actually, I know for a fact we have a lot of first-time viewers based on my normal viewer numbers. The regulars already know the rules and come prepared. For first-timers, it's okay, you know, just trying to get people to understand how the flow of the stream, what the rules are, how it works, give you some time to build some decks. Usually, I'm a little bad about it right now, but usually I like to have the next dungeon rules posted in advance too. So, you know, okay, when this dungeon falls, here's what we're doing next. But lately I've been on a run of common and uncommon only dungeons just for consistency and accessibility, so that people can take one deck that they used for a dungeon last week and still have a viable option to challenge the next dungeon. Plus, this dungeon having 21 different decks in it and basically 4 different winners means that it's going to last for a little while. A 5-shooter picking on me. So, during the first function Frenzy, I took one of my decks from my dungeon and I thought I pruned out all the rares, but I forgot that I had the rare resources in the deck. So game 1, within the first 3 turns, I cheat and I played a rare resource in a no rare tournament. And I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that it was a resource, and I was streaming at the time. There were witnesses. My opponent correctly called me on it. They're like, you played a rare card, and I didn't even realize I had forgotten that the shards were rare. I'm like, the card on the chain was uncommon. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it was against you. I forget names, but I'm like, yeah, I totally cheated, and thank you for being a good sport and letting me fix my deck and then immediately restart that. I felt so stupid. I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Those are rare resources. What are you doing? You cannot have rare resources in a common and uncommon only deck. But while we'll wait for challengers to get ready, I'm going to jump into Evo, and Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't have a deck saved. Oh, okay. Hitting the play button just brings us into this. Okay, how do we challenge? I have a crappy deck thrown together. Okay, Wing Spear. I will back out of this. What is your in-game name? And then either send a whisper to me, Thrawn, here, or let me know what you, you know, that way I know it's you. Okay, it's the same as Wing Spear. Okay. Slash whisper wing speed EARE. Challenge me when you are ready. And then we'll be starting with room 1 again. Always room 1. If there's ever any deck in the dungeon to hate build around, it's that one, because you know that that's going to be the same every time. I usually do let the challenger be the person to initiate the challenge to me too, because I allow you to change decks between every single match, and so I want you to have the time to change decks, you know, if you want, and then when you're sending me the challenge, I know you're ready. I don't want to be like slapping challenges out at people and making them feel pressured. Unless I know somebody's using the same deck throughout the entire dungeon, then it really doesn't matter. Wing Spear, bring in Grandfather Elk to play. This is beautiful. Dread Botanist and 2 Shoku's Garden plus an Explosion. This hand is gorgeous. Okay. And Yukido, you are next if nobody who has not had an opportunity to play yet says anything. So if somebody is not challenged the dungeon yet and wants to play, they'll get priority. Otherwise, Yukido, you are next. I know there's a fair amount of people who prefer to watch the game show action than be a participant, and that's perfectly fair and valid. Alright, so Dread Botanist number 1 into Dread Botanist number 2 into Shoku. Just start gaining piles of health. Okay, just kidding about the getting Dreadlings bit. Crackling Bolt dealt 3 damage and they got themselves a charge. Alright, so we're going to try this one more time with the whole Dread Botanist thing. See if this one has a longer shelf life than the first one. I mean, they are Shin'Hair. They're happy to die. Okay, so Lithlear Assist, at the start of your turn you gain 1 temporary resource. They're going to ramp up a little bit. And wow, hey guys, that's our third. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's our third Dread Botanist. Feel free to click on these other videos. You'll probably enjoy them too. And if you really enjoyed the video and want to help me produce more content like this, head over to my Bandcamp so page. Dungeon Masters of Entrath, of course. I run this show every Wednesday night. I'm based in Minnesota. So for me it starts at 7 p.m. Central and that runs until 10 p.m. when I need to get some sleep and get ready for work. If you're on the West Coast, that'd be 5 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, that's 8 p.m. We stream for 3 hours on Wednesday nights doing this. I've been doing this every week since February 8th, so it's getting close to we're closing in on the 4 month mark now, which is nice. That reeks of combat trick, so I'm gonna let that through. On Tuesday nights, and on every Tuesday night, and on Friday nights when I do not have social plans, the other stream I do is Hexercise. I have a treadmill behind me and to my left, and I connect my computer, instead of this monitor, I connect my computer into the 65-inch TV that you can see behind me over my shoulder, and then I stream some Hex action while walking on a treadmill. I've kind of done that as a way to have some fun and burn off calories, as well as work on my personal weight loss goals, and it has had a measurable effect. When I weighed in this week, I clocked in down 7 pounds, so 7.5 pounds so far in 5 weeks. So the progress is real, and all I've been doing is dieting and walking, basically walking while playing Hex. I haven't done any hardcore workouts or anything yet at this point. Yeah, thank you. It feels good. Now, the first time I did it, I was kind of nervous. The Hex community are really super awesome, kind, nice people. But part of me thought, like, if I fire up my fat self walking on a stream, is chat going to be cool, or is it going to be what's this fatty doing walking while trying to play video games? But everybody's been super nice, and it's been really, really motivating and gratifying. You know, for some other people to say, hey, you know, you motivated me to get out there and go for a walk tonight too. So I'm like, yes, that's sweet. But I'd keep doing it I'd keep doing that even if nobody was watching, because for me, it just knowing that the video is publicly available is an accountability tool. Like, okay, Nate, you need to do this. So we're sitting pretty okay right now with Dreadling Generation. Well, that happens. This deck once drew 10 pieces of removal before finding a third troop. And that was a very awkward game where I was just picking off things left and right, but not actually making any progress. So we want to Explosion, I think this, and get rid of a Dread. Would you enjoy being able to do the dungeons using PvE cards? That would absolutely be a thing if it was if there was a like Wild West type format, anything goes, and the developers allow use of PvE cards and equipment, then I would allow that for Dungeon Masters of Entrath. The only reason that's not a thing right now is because it's physically impossible to do that in the game. That's the limiting factor. But if that becomes a thing, that's absolutely design play space I intend to explore with Dungeon Masters of Entrath. Although it will make a massive headache for me on a dungeon design and balance standpoint, because that would allow for people to do some hilariously broken things and that I'm not even aware of. I don't know what all the equipment does, so I probably have to kind of like slowly ramp that up. Removal would be nice too. I think I'd have to slowly ramp that up because I'm just nervous that I would design some hilariously awful decks where people go, you know, this is boring, it's too easy to win or something. Or I go the other end of the spectrum and I like make massively OP decks. I think it's more likely for me to underestimate difficulty than overestimate it. People routinely surprise me with what they come up with. Yeah, I think you're right that I'd have to make much more specific deck building rules and monitor like a ban list, and I'd have to be a little bit more of a format strict judge. So we're going to strangle a Yeti, which is going to get wild growth, so we're not actually strangling it. Well, we're still strangling it, but it still kills us. And now we need to find an answer for that before our 47 health goes away. Pro Panda Plays, thanks for joining in. I get the friend notification when people who are on my Twitch friends list show up. We're on our second challenger of the evening, about an hour into tonight's show. And Wing Spear is on the first encounter in the dungeon. Rower, right back at you. The current format is Immortal. Oh, that kills our early botanist. Dealt 5 damage, I believe, with Burn to the Ground there. Current format is Immortal, Common, and Uncommon cards only. With a massive dungeon of 21 possible encounters. Of which we have seen 3 decks so far tonight. So every time a Dreadling dies, we gain 2 health, which blunts the effectiveness of Mama Yeti a little bit. And if we get to a 6th resource and can play bulky, then every time a Dreadling dies, not only do we gain a point of health for it, but we're dealing them a Wing Spear point of damage for it. And they're down to 7 health. They will eventually have to start making decisions about whether or not they're going to start blocking those Dreadlings. They have had bad luck of finding very few troops so far. Alright, so taking the 8 again. When you sacrifice, not when it dies. Except the Dreadlings say, yeah, at the end of your turn, sacrifice it. So you're correct in that if something blocks it, that doesn't trigger. But if they let it through and it goes until the end of turn, then its death at the end of a turn is considered a sacrifice and triggers that ability. Alright. So we're just going to be the Crusher of Hope. Use our chant power. Swing it. Show no mercy! Because the Shinhair don't know how. They don't know the meaning of that word. Alright, and if anyone has decks, if anyone has not yet challenged the dungeon tonight and has a deck ready, please let me know. Otherwise, Yukito is queued up to be the next person to play. Alright, so that was exhausted for resources. Is that symbolic, or do we have a wild growth coming? Wild growth, I believe, is only +3. Oh, Blitz, even better. Walked into that. Alright, so the Burly's gone. Our opponent's on 3 with only a Howling Brave. Looks bad, but it's not impossible. I'm gonna keep the Strangle for something else. I'm gonna let them have that. Because we're super mean and we're saving the Strangle for the MLG Big League threats. Which I don't think Baby Yeti's what they had in mind. Dungeon Master is so evil that he strangles babies. At the baby. So I think 3 Shoku's Gardens probably ends this, barring some piece of removal. Wasn't strictly necessary, but come on, it's fun to strain. File that under the we play a strange game thing, where you need to know the context of somebody being happy they strangled a baby. Any other context is like, oh my god, dude, you're a monster. It happens, Wingspear. That was really bad luck on troop draws on your part. Just finding the basic building blocks, you know, the ramp with the elves and the Howling Braves. Found one Yeti, but yeah, I felt like your deck was designed to ramp, and you just didn't have the luck of finding the things you were ramping for, unfortunately. But you are definitely not the first person to get blasted and end up losing to the first deck in the dungeon. It happens. Absolutely no shame in it. Yeah, steal the bride, cheap shot the child, and no, strangle the baby. We're just collecting the good phrases. Alright, so Yukido, at this point, nobody else has spoken up, indicating a desire to challenge the dungeon, and I'm still going to be live for 2 more hours. So if you are watching this, you still have time to brew up a deck. It was built around Raging Wildfire, which is an excellent choice for that, with that champion. And the blitzes, that could do a ton of damage. If you just never found the Surging Wildfire. Alright. I'm ready, was just trying to give some people chances. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm all about giving as many people as possible the opportunity to play. But I also want to make sure that we keep continuing to have a game show going on. So I'm going to update the prize pool real quick. That was number 6 added onto our growth counter for the current dungeon, and at 6 I add a rare. Let's see here, I had for myself in the queue MC, that's probably spelled wrong, but MC is the next rare added to the prize pool. Move my OBS things around. See if you can throw something together. Good. You got some time. I'm looking forward to it. I love seeing what things people come up with. And I think we may even see a different deck this time from Yukido. Maybe, maybe not. It sounded like they were brewing something different too. Alright, and thus we begin our 3rd challenge of the night. Yeah, this is indeed a new deck. Yukido throwing down. Okay, this 5 shards against Yodel. This is risky, but it's got potential. This may go down as a poor life choice. Keeping 5 shards against a deck that wants to burn us to death. Because if this is classic Yodel, then we expect lots of direct damage spells, lots of removal. Trying to make maximum use of non-combat damage being increased by 1. Okay, I really did not wish to draw another shard when I already have this many. But we're now guaranteed bulky if we live long enough. Next turn we can scrounge that Dreadling for the Dread Apprentice surprise. And now there are two of them. Alright, so Yodel hit power, so Zap has the power to kill the Botanist. And then we have to take that too. Oh, trying to remember Yodel if this is a worthy target of Butcher. I think it is. Although the Whirling Brutalizer is also bad news. Alright, that's a slow shard. So basically the trick to beating Yodel is, and speak of the devil, there's the Whirling Brutalizer. Yeah, probably should have held that Butcher for one of those. The trick to beating Yodel is just don't be dead in the first 5 or 6 turns. If you can outlive their initial hand and not be on death's door, then you have a chance to overrun them with more powerful things. And now if we're given the opportunity, which is always iffy against Yodel and Yodel's Suite of Removal, but we will trade these two all day, every day. But we're not gonna... Oh, okay, that's to the face. We're probably just dead. Yep, we're just dead. Alright, Yodel burns down the Dreadlings. Okay, now we need to know where in this dungeon Yukido wishes to go next. Oops, that's a Whisper to Wing Spear. 2. Alright, taking a different path this time. Okay. So I'm going to close that. 2 is... Better make sure I'm looking at my own map right. Yeah, 2 is this. This, by the way, is why I hope we someday get deck folders. Because as you can see, I have an enormously long list of decks that keeps growing bigger the longer I run this show. Because I'm a pack rat and I don't delete deck lists. Alright, and this deck is Fiona Honeyfetch. And we are facing Rutherford Banks. And we are going to keep this hand. This is a good hand. Although it longs for a second Sapphire Shard, so we can play Flock of Seagulls and Thunderbird. But we have a Time Ripple and we have Cloud Speaker on 2.
There's no one around and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him. He's following you. About
so we want to just sail right on over.
Down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you. You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his
Alright, so Thunderbird first for the ability to rage over. And then I think next probably Flock of Seagulls, which has prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to this. So it can be killed with other forms of damage and voiding and such, but it can block for days. It will laugh off anybody trying to block it.
Now it's dark, and you seem to have lost him. But you're hopelessly lost yourself, stranded with a murderer.
And we also draw air superiority here. Troops you control with flight have +1/+1.
Cottage with a light on. Hope. You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! Ah! It's caught in a bear trap!
Alright, so we'll start the raging in here. Play Flock of Seagulls. Pass the turn, and then we can drop 2 cards next turn. There are 2 conscripted troops in hand over there.
You limp into the dark woods, blood oozing from your stump.
I mean, there was a real reason not to attack in case I make a mistake and don't block or fear a trick or something, because that can't block us anyway. Alright, so I want to play air superiority pre-combat. Rage in with the Thunderbird. Play Cloud Speaker and pass it back.
His head topples to the floor, expressionless. You fall.
No, these are the shards where Gale Force could be a thing in this deck.
Finally safe from Shia LaBeouf.
I'd be surprised if it was in there this early in the life of the dungeon. Just because this is our only this is only our 3rd run on the dungeon, usually, and the first time that this particular deck has come up. Usually people need to see a deck once or twice before they start hate brewing ways to kill it. So I'm thinking there's probably not Gale Forces in there, but it would be devastating if there were. So the thing I fear is using this Cloud Speaker's one-shot on Thunderbird and then immediately it getting killed. So I'm going to kind of save this for a second threat. And pass the turn back. So that's a 6/7 that we can continue to chump with impunity. But if for some reason Flock of Seagulls goes away, we do have Time Ripple, which should just be a slight delaying tactic, really. Oh my goodness, Brood Count. Crush, if this would deal damage to an opposing champion, create a Spiderling for each damage that would be dealt instead. That's a nice hit. So now I think we kind of want to save this for that when it swings at combat. Brood Count break into rules. I think that question was, is Brood Count a violation of the rules? I know, I was just saying it. Alright, so we've got the ability, they're exhausted on resources. We're going to play the second Thunderbird. We can use the Cloud Speaker on the weaker Thunderbird to try to catch it up to the one that's had several swings under its belt next turn. We'll go ahead and use Fiona Honeyfinch's power to nerf all those. We Time Ripple the Brood Count when the Brood Count swings in. Throat Cutter. Orcs you control have Rage 1. Not super relevant to the current board, but has potential upside. Alright, let's get you out of here. Just block those two and take the one. Alright, move this power over to the weaker Thunderbird. And send these two sailing over, spread some threats. Not quite lethal. Use our charge power and pass the turn back over. And see what they can do to us. So they have the conscript. All their conscript hits now have spell shield, which is handy. They're gonna full strike, which only deals 3 damage to us here. Sweet. All we hit is another shard. Thunderbirds, go! Should have stuck with the Yodel deck. GG's Yukido. Alright, so we'll pull up the map. So thus far, we've seen on tonight's stream, we've seen rooms 1, 2, 3, and 12. Those are all known to the observant challenger. And if anybody else has a deck ready to go and has not yet challenged the dungeon tonight, please let me know. Failing that, Wing Spear. If you would like to have another go at it and we don't have any new challengers, you are eligible to challenge again now, because there's been one person between your runs. Alright. Notalic can give it a whirl. So give me... But I think my deck is trash. That is a common reaction sometimes, and then people go farther than they think. I'm going to take a really, really quick, like, 1, maybe 2 minute break here to refill my water. Because talking a lot on stream is thirsty business. So give me a very quick AFK. Oop, I muted myself too soon. Give me a very brief AFK and then we will start your run. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I just need to reposition myself here and get my camera turned back on. Okay, that all looks good. Got a couple whispers. I'm set up to run these a few times. I have a lot of options was thinking of for Frenzy's tournaments. Okay. Excellent. Good to know. Alright, and now Tillich, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing those. I'm notoriously garbage with names, both real and fictitious in nature. Let me know your in-game name so I know if a challenge comes in or if a whisper comes in that that's you. And we can get your dungeon run underway. Okay. Adir / whisper. Send your whisper now. You can challenge somebody by whispers by clicking on the little portrait, and then you'll see whisper, mail, and challenge options. So you just click challenge, and then you pick the deck you want, and that is how you can send me a challenge. I know some people have sent friend requests. That's fine, not strictly necessary to be able to send a challenge, but whatever helps you do it. So we're going to start with Room 1 as always, and then see where Adir wants to go from there. Ooh, spicy. Angus the Arsonist. Alright, this hand is fine. Dread Factory into Dread Botanist into Probed Warp Hair. So we're gonna curve just fine. So just telling Adir, your champion, the choice of Angus the Arsonist scares me. I'm a little afraid of the burn slap that's about to come.
I think you just can't bear to let a gorgeous guy like me out of your sight.
Wow! $5 from PRG. Thank you for the donation. You are also the first person to use that donation link. So I'm glad to know that... oh, that was a misplay. I didn't want to do another Dread Factory yet. I wanted to get the Dread Botanist out. I'm glad to know that the donation link works as intended, and that I didn't break that when I was trying to change things around on the stream. So I do sincerely appreciate that. Thank you so much. Those are also instant to me and not the, you know, a little bit of delay that comes with Twitch bits. Alright, I think it's more important to have double blood than double wild. And we're gonna try to live the Dreadling dream here. Alright, well let's get a counter for our trouble at least. Alright, so we have Probed Warped Hair eligible for activation the next turn, and this one is probably better swinging in. Sticky, thank you for the host. Feeling the love tonight, you guys. Alright, so we're going to throw down the Probed Warped Hair, which is 5/5. It shrinks every turn and it gives us a Dreadling. I think against Angus low health total, it may be best to try to use the Dreadling to get the Dread Factories going, but swing in with the body if we can get away with that. Alright, so that's 3 damage to our face. That is 3 damage to our face. That is 2 damage to our face. Face is smarting a little bit here from all the burn. And I need to see, did I don't think I updated the prize list after that last run. I'm fairly positive I did not. So I'm gonna take a second just to update this. 7 attempts. And add another 2,000 gold into the prize pool, so that's at 11,000. And we'll get back to business here. This is, I think, I'm already losing track, but I think this is our 4th dungeon run of the night. We've seen 3 decks so far. We saw the Grievous Phantom combo go off and turn 2 Ada Phantoms into 2 5/5 Phantoms. Alright, so our Burly or our Probe War pair is dead, so we're gonna at least get a counter on the Dread Factory off of them. For those of you just tuning in, you're watching Dungeon Masters of Entrath, the Hex game show that I run every Wednesday night on my channel from 7 p.m. Central Time until 10 p.m., which would be 5 to 8 if you're on the west coast of the United States, or 8 to 11 if you're on the east coast. I design special decks. Kind of think of it like private match PvP, but with as much of a PvE flavor to it as I can bring to it. Matches are best of 1. If you defeat an encounter, you move on to the next one. If you lose at any point along the way, your dungeon run is over, and the prize pool grows for the next person. Now this is permanent, right? Target troop gets -3/-3. That looks permanent. So let's go ahead and nerf ourselves a Mama Yeti and summon some more Dreadlings. And go all in on consistent generation here. Sort of delay our gratification for now, but to try to get the factories going as much as possible, which may be a mistake against a burn deck, but these are the decisions we've made. What is up, Bofity? How you doing tonight? The Friday update bump is definitely a thing. I'm happy to see more folks checking out the show tonight. Hopefully all having a good time, because you haven't left screaming. So we are just hanging out, and this is... I think at 9 health against a burn deck that has 3 cards in hand, this is a risk we have to take. Oh, I missed my chance to put another counter on that. Alright, so this is not looking great. Add 2 more counters on this. And if Bolt Spasm attacks, we're going to trade the Dread Botanist to try to get rid of that, unless this is just burned into oblivion. They have 1 card left in hand. They use that to murder, death, kill the Dread Botanist. And now they hit us for 3, so basically we have to find something that can either kill that or block. We get Strangle. I guess that works. So we're going to hold it just 'cause. But we're definitely going to be using it. That's a Wilbur Dasher. And by the way, Champion Power deals 4 damage. Okay, so that takes 4 charges. So they've got us dead in 2 shard draws. or a crackling bolt. I mean, we're dead to a lot of things against Angus here. A whole lot of things. Ha! Like that. That kills us. So for spite, we're going to strangle the Wolverine Basher. Alright, so room 1 has fallen. And I'm going to pull up the map again. Oop, I'm going to concede this first. Because our challenger now has an important decision to make on which room they wish to move on to. From 1, they can either go to 2, 3, 4, or 5. And that's going to begin to dictate what their path is through the remainder of the dungeon. The final goal is to get to one of the 4 pillars. If you defeat the encounter that corresponds with one of the pillars, you win everything that is in the prize pool. The prize pool wipes and we start over, and I close off that particular path. And the dungeon keeps going until all 4 pillars are knocked out. I will be keeping a list of the people who defeat a pillar. I'm still working on some follow-up on something special to happen for those people when the dungeon is fully completed. So we're doing room 3 next. And room 3 is this one. Challenge. Format is Immortal. Format is Immortal. Common and uncommon cards only allowed in your decks. You may not use rares or legendaries. These decks will use some rares and legendaries. I have those kind of strategically placed in there to fill the role of AI only cards and to provide a little bit of extra challenge there. So Adir is going after Nin the Shadow. This is our hardcore, basically break your deck or go home deck. And this is probably a very good matchup for them because this deck does not win super quickly. They're playing a Fire Dancer. When this attacks, deals 2 damage to us. We're going to throw out Ogth. A Chaos Touched. When this deals damage to an opposing champion, bury the top card of their deck. Then if there are 10 or more cards in their deck, you're burying 5 instead. So it starts slow, and then the bury accelerates. Take a couple off the top. We get a shard and a cremate. Feel the call to madness. I do. I'm already dancing with fire. Speaking of, the spawn is immediately burned. We're going to take 3 to the face, and then we're going to eat a charge power, and then we're going to get burned. Alright, so since there's only 1 troop there, I think it's going to be Dementia Daisies to have a blocker first. That's probably out of range of 1-for-1 of most of the removal that's in that deck. No, Dementia Daisies. This is a Shattered Destiny card. When you gain a charge, bury the top 2 cards of each opposing champion's deck. So every time we play a shard, that's 2 off the top. I'll block and see if this eats a Crackling Bolt or some other form of removal. It does not. So that's 2 off the top. Then let's Ezerfang Decree to put some spiders in there and rip off some cards. Use charge power to try to rip off a couple more cards and find one of those spiders. Use Chronic Madness to get rid of some of those cards and try to find our spiders. Alright, so no spiders. We have a 10 card lead on them in deck size. Next turn we can play Octh, Great Spawn of Oath-Yaget, these wonderfully pronounceable troops. At the start of your turn, bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck, or I guess of target. Then, if that person has 20 or more cards in the crypt, transform it into a spawn, which we had one of earlier, and put it into play under your control. So there goes 2 cards again. I'll put down Octh. It is also worth noting it is a 6/7 troop, but it is defensive. It cannot attack in. Pure GD. Ah! Yeah, that's a big body that's going to start enabling some milling shenanigans. And we also have a scheme in hand to start creating some Chronic Madnesses. So this deck can do some very nasty things with deck destruction. But I think one of its weaknesses is it does not have a whole lot of troops, and it has to go for the deck win. I can't really even do much to touch that health total with this deck. Now Adir's going, how do I do this? I like throwing around some of the fun cards that, I mean, who has a deck that runs Octh? I don't think hardly anybody does. Bring out the weird. Okay, so we're at 8. This could be bad. So now we're at 5. That's going to put us down to 2. Oh no, we're dead. We're dead. They got there. They didn't even need that burn. They could have attacked with that. And oh, just as we were getting the mill shenanigans going, we got burned to death. Adir conquers another one. Alright, put the map up again for decision time. So that was deck number 3. So now challenge room is 12. Or can pick 7 or 8 to move towards one of the pillars. Bonus rooms are generally harder, and they're also one-offs. Those would be 10, 11, 12, and 13. They're off the beaten path. We are going for 12. Chatatog, there's currently not really a queue. It's, let me know if you have a deck eligible and you wish to compete. And then I kind of take you down. So if you want to compete against the dungeon right now, since you haven't played it all tonight, you would be the next person to compete. Alright, so we're going to be doing room 12 next. Yeah, I'm game. Alright, then Chatatog, you are next. And then, alright, Wing Spear, I will put you in after that. Assuming there's no new challenger between you and Chatatog's run. Alright, so I need to, let's see here, send a challenge, and this is, well, just Immortal to make sure I have to do Immortal to make sure they get their deck right. And Avatar of Diamond. Send the challenge. Ooh, Wing Spear. Tuning the deck and practicing. There we go. Getting ready. Oh, I wanna keep it. Dance Macabre. Transform all troops in your crypt into phantoms and put them into play. Yeah, this board is either won or as a door prize from the Hex Clash. I also have this board. I paid the gold price for it. I got it as a door prize. I did not. I got a lucky dice roll. I did not win my copy. All right, so we'll start with the Spirit-Bound Spy. Move on to Cloud Speaker after that. We didn't see this last time. Lore Curator. Pay 1 to transform a card in an opposing crypt into a Tome of Lore and put it into your deck. Tome of Lore is you pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card, and then if you have 5 or more in your crypt, you can summon a random avatar or a random dragon. So that will be our next play. Probably, unless there's something we feel the need to immediately bring to justice. But all those burn spells going into the crypt are going to be things that we can basically recycle.
It's me, Mario.
Alright, so the possible downside here is this is almost certainly killable, but it'd be a 2-for-1. Next turn we'd be able to buff it. It'd only get 1 more power, which I suppose would make it slightly harder to kill. Go ahead and swing in with a Phantom. With Dance Macabre, things that are burned can be brought back, but we don't have a Grievous Phantom yet for the end game of turning all of our 1/1 Phantoms into 5/5 Phantoms. All right, Lore Curator is going to get dead. So that was a 2-for-1 that I was a little worried about. Now taking couple points of damage from 3 points of damage from the charge power, 2 points because that swung in. So now I think I do want to bring that to justice just to stop the easy drip at 2 points of damage, especially considering that we're down to 15, so that's going to get brought to justice and go away, and cannot yet power up the Phantom, because that costs 2. But we'll swing in with Phantom. Take the 1 point of damage where we can. 2 shards is enough charges to get 2 more Phantoms. And Mama Yeti was not the thing I wanted to see the turn after I played a Bring It to Justice, because now we need to find more removal for that thing. Alright, so Cloud Speaker's gonna have to be on sacrifice duty to stop 4 out of those 5 points of damage. Because Dance really doesn't help us too much against a 5/5 Crusher. He's gonna succeed where I failed. That might be a thing. Yeah, we're looking pretty low right now. There it goes. There's a dead phantom. There's a 3-1. So we're 5 health. It looks bad. The shard didn't help. Alright, so we're gonna dance macabre to get phantoms back. But no Grievous Phantom to immediately Windmill Slam in follow-up. So we take that off the board. That stops 4 damage. 3, 4... We 3 for 1 and hate ourselves. I think it does. I think it is mostly academic. Yeah, it was entirely academic because there's the fireball. Bonus room dead. Burn beats phantoms. All right, so I need to write down user ID AEDIR, and you have won an Evo pack. So I'll be sending you one of each current sets booster pack and 100 platinum to do an Evo on the house for clearing out that bonus dungeon. So give me a second here to... I want to pull up the dungeon map again to update that. I should have had this, what is going on here? Open up the dungeon map, and I want to make sure this works live. Let's grab the paintbrush. Brush width. That should be good enough. X out room 12. And then go tool, text. Alright, and let's save that. Alright, so now when I pull up the dungeon map, it works! Okay, good. I can live patch the picture like that. Okay, and so now I need to know Revlobot is the one you want to trust for credits. Pellionbot is the one I use for some automated messaging and stuff. That bot also has a credit system, which I believe I had disabled, but sometimes it starts tracking things anyway. But I don't use the credits off of Pellionbot for anything. But no Talek / Adir. You have your choices would be room 7 or 8 on where you want to proceed next in the dungeon. Whether you want to go for pillar 3 or pillar 4. Going for 7. Alright. Then I will close the map. 7. You are going right from one avatar to another. Continues to take notes. That is a good battle plan. We are going up against the... Up next is the Avatar of Sapphire, who also goes by the name Daughter of Stars. When Daughter of Stars originally came out, looked at that champion and was like, okay, You need quadruple. You need quadruple diamond or quadruple sapphire threshold and 10 charges. I picked the wrong deck. Yep, my bad. I grabbed the wrong deck again, cause reading is hard. All right, let's do this properly this time. Challenge. Immortal. Avatar of Sapphire. Send challenge. Player unavailable. Whoops. You're the boss for even doing this. I appreciate that. Let's... Alright, Immortal Avatar of Sapphire. Send challenge. Alright, I swear to God I can read. I'm literate. I went to school for English. I know what the cards do. Here we go. Daughter of Stars. This is accurate. Alright, we have a nice 2, 3, and 4. Which helps. Don't have any of the bounce, though, that this deck would like to see. Also, losing the coin flip is tough against a burn deck. Alright, so what we can do is play a shard and pass. Now, this deck has hit the end game before of the 4 shards and 10 charges and has won by doing a board sweep and crushing over the next turn. It can be done. It will likely not be done against this particular deck that we are up against. Alright, so I guess we're gonna daring freeboot a baby. It's something. And next turn we've got Thunderfield Elder. Deploy the next action in your deck. It's when you play this, copy it. So we can start hitting multiple things, or getting some extra value off of what we hit. Mystic Naturalist is also a very good option here. Although, a 2/2 bird every turn just seems slow against Angus. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to take the 2 points of damage here. Throw down Thunderfield Elder. Oh dear, I'm worried. That move was stunning! You're gonna be on for a while, Thrawn. I need to go AFK, pick up dinner and eat. Got a deck I want to try, though. Oh, I'm planning on another hour. I usually wrap up around 10. But if somebody is in mid-challenge, I let that person finish. So there's a chance that we run longer. Alright, so this is prophesized. Gain 2 charges, stun each opposing troop with 1 or less, or get all basic actions. So this would be 4 charges, which would get us to 8, but still not enough to That's 5. Yeah, there's no good choices here against a baby Yeti, and we didn't find any of the cards that bounce. I think Mystic Naturalist might have to be offered up as a sacrifice to the Yeti gods. While we try to find something that's a more permanent answer. Oh, what's better than one Yeti? Two Yetis. Let's get at least 1/3 off the board. Oh, shoot. The crush damage kills us anyway. I'm going to play this to show them we were close. We're so close. That's 4 shards. Gain 2 charges. So Daughter of Stars is going down on 9 charges. Gotta have a charge ramp for Daughter of Stars. Gotta find a way to get 10. All these games have been one short of you getting, just always. Just not quite fast enough. Alright, so at this point the dungeon then is pretty linear. It goes from 7 to 16 to 20. Really the first 2 directions you go dictate your choices. So the next one is room 16. Which is this deck. Alright, does this deck have what it takes to beat some burn? We shall see. I'm gonna take down the notice too, because we have Chatatog on deck, so we do have at least one person in the queue. Alright, and this is not the same deck as before. This could do for a shard or 2, but it works. Shackling Strands is reserved for a Yeti. Getting a lot of Kismet to go first every game. That has been tough for me. Yeah, Windspear if he's back, whoever you if no one else. Yes, also time depending. With the higher viewer numbers and the hype, I might get talked into running a little bit late, but I also do need to sleep and be to work at 8 a.m. in the morning, so I can only push that so far. But this is a once a week event, so I want to make the most of our time partying. Alright, so we'll go ahead and check Windborne Ascension here. We had a Cavern Sentry, which I guess isn't the worst hit because it's got 4 defense. So I mean it can block things. Another Ada deck? Blasphemy, right? Ada comes in different flavors. Actually, this version, the Phantoms are there to... The Phantom exists in this one to try to help Silvertail and Mandate go off more often. And this deck wants to swarm you with birds. Alright, so that's a Baby Yeti. We'll Totem Trap that. Still got to take our lumps, though.
Suddenly silence.
Alright, and now we're just going to get down to thing that blocks. I think that's about all we can do. All of the Baby Yetis. And that's 4. At this point, I think Shackling Strands has to go on that. Health is not a good spot to be on. Maybe it was unwise to let that much damage through. Okay, so Totem Trap is a thing. If a Yeti shows up anytime soon, we're screwed. I'm going to Shackling Strands this and then Totem Trap that when that swings in, but we're probably still dead to that swinging, plus, yeah, any kind of burn spell. I'm a monster for not having matching baby art, I know. Matching is a rule. Must match! Alright, so that's us taking 2 for the swing and then Totem Trapping it. No swing off the Yeti. Doesn't matter, Crackling Bolt. Alright. Final battle of this leg of the dungeon. Room number 20 is a pillar. Alright, and that is this one. Well, that's standard. Immortal. Don't go back on me. Alright, final battle of this leg of the dungeon. For time's sake, I would say no to that. I've tried to keep the dungeons to about 4 to 6 encounters, because they're best of one and you have to chain off wins in a row, and I don't want to make it like too hard to, you know, build up a major win streak. Plus, for time, I want to kind of make runs a little bit more predictable so that, you know, we can try to get more people in. Alright, we'll keep this. 2 flickering gobblers is pretty good. But yeah, so once you've made it to one of the 4 corners, oop, I should take that map down. Either 6, 7, 8, or 9. Once you're there, you're locked in towards a pillar. Alright, so we need some other kind of action. I feel like you're gonna get beat at your own game. Well, this is not the fastest McBombus deck. People have built better than this one. Because I can play for the flickering gobblers, but I can't keep them alive right now. Alright, well, I guess we're in a Lanapaw's site and try to get some value here. Oh, I missed a point of damage. I don't play McBombus very often. I feel like I trade this here. Oh, yeah, you're right. Fire in the hole. Yeah, we're gonna skip. And we're gonna try to get that trigger. Mistakes were made. So we can swing with these 2. Fire in the hole now does 3 damage to a troop. That deals 2 damage just for swinging, plus 3. So getting rid of that is the same as getting rid of that. I think that's actually the better call. And then Flickering Gobbler is going to go back into hand. Oh, they missed. I think they whiffed not doing that pre-combat damage. Because that's quick, isn't it? Yeah, I think they could have taken that out before we hit with it. Alright, so now we gotta eat 3 more damage. And then 3 more. It's gonna be a battle who could slap the other person harder and faster. So let's do this again. Alright, so this time they did not miss it. That still deals 3 damage. Alright, well, we're going to play Ember Tongue Skarn then and draw a card. All the Lanapaw's sites. That's quick, so that is quick, right? Yeah, that's quick, so we're gonna hold that. Although it's not big enough yet to take out a Mama Yeti, sadly. So Mama Yeti just kills us. No Mama Yeti. I think that forces my hand. I don't want two of those swinging in.
Morton, walk away.
Alright, Prestidigitator is a 3/2 that creates a random action that costs 1.
Walk away, or I will fire.
Morton, walk away.
Ooh, Arcane Focus. Alright, immediate use of that. The Illusion of Choice. Do we want a Ruby Shard or a Ruby Shard? Alright, so they have 2 cards in hand, which I'm hoping are both shards. B shards! Our next turn, maybe a double Lanapause site just to try to put ourselves in an advantageous position here for card draw. Alright, so that's 3 to the face. That's 3 to the face. And now we're dead to a shard. We're dead to damn near anything. Oh, we don't have the resources to feed the flames. When you play this, draw a card. So, a troop with speed coming in is probably would kill us. I think I need to leave troops minus like 1 extra troop as a blocker because we have no margin for error here. The card draw. Dead. Dead to shard! I know I can't, but I'm so used to waiting for Lasgars. Or I know you can't. Yep, Lasgars would be a thing there. Alright, so the first pillar has fallen. Alright, so I need to do a quick bit of housekeeping here. Let's get the dungeon map up. And let's see here. Get the paintbrush. And just kind of X out pillar 4. Draw an arrow there. And an arrow there. Alright, save that. Alright, so the dungeon map is updated. If that had gone on a couple more turns, it might have worked out that way. So pillar 4 is down, and I need to go over to the prize list here. 2x Scars of War, 11k gold. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make my life easier. I'm gonna do this. AEDIR space prize pool. And then I'm just going to move that down on the document and go current prize pool. Reset the failed counter to 0. Current prize pool. We'll go Scars of War. Oops. Don't do that live. Okay. Scars of War booster is going to be in there, and what I'm doing right now is I'm updating the document. You can find if you typed in exclamation prizes. 5k gold, and then we're gonna pluck the top 2 rares from the rare queue here. Academy of Cerulean and Wayfaring Conqueror. We'll drop those in the prize pool. Close those out of the rare queue. Alright, so our opening bid for the next one is going to be a Scars of War Booster, 5,000 gold, Academy of Cerulean, Wayfaring Conqueror. Currently all prizes are self-funded on my end. If I get any donations, I would definitely mix those into the pool. But I think the stream's mostly for funsies and giving out a little bit of things for fun, you know, within what my budget allows. I'm going to take the map off. Chatatog is next, if they're still here. I need to take another real quick 1 to 2 minute AFK though before we start up in another entire dungeon run. So Chatatog, let me know if you're ready. You can even go ahead and send me a challenge if you like, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm back, turning camera back on. Okay. So our next challenger is Chatatog. Let me... Wasn't sure your IGN. Yeah, it's Thrawn. And I think yours is the same. Fight me! Let's do this! Is pausing stream. Thank you, Chatatog. Alright, I saw that friend request come in, but we're gonna wait until after the match. Alright, so this is another one of those hands. I mean, Butcher, Butcher, Butcher. Dread Apprentice, Pro War Pair. How could I not keep this? It needs 1 shard to go absolutely bananas. And Chatatog playing Raven Talon. I wonder if this is the deck that, the same deck list that took out Functions... Oh, I'm getting the hiccups. Took out Functions Tournament yesterday. This is the second time tonight, I think, where we've had like 2 or 3 butchers almost immediately. So the first pillar has fallen tonight. 3 remain. This is kind of like 4 dungeons in one. Alright, there is our 3rd shard, so things can start going crazy. Butchers are meant for bigger game than eager lackeys. Yeah, welcome back, Wingspear. Our first of the 4 pillars has fallen. And we're on... I've already lost count how many challengers we've had tonight. 5 or 6 dungeon runs. Alright, let's get Probed Warp Tear out. This may check the Battle Scrivener from swinging in for a turn or 2. Got food, still haven't eaten yet. Speaking of food, there goes our Probe Warp pair. One thing I've been trying on my weight loss goal is just a little bit of micro snacking throughout the day. Just very small amounts of things like almonds and what have you, just to stave off a little bit of the ragged edge of hunger that comes when you're trying to diet, and also to keep my body from going into like starvation mode, thinking, "Dude, you're trying to kill me." Alright, I'm gonna try the Probe Orbed hair trick again. The health gain is a little inconvenient. And that was conscripted because it's got the cost reduction. That's like what Raven Talon dreams of conscripting. Oh, Ghost Howler. Ghost Howler has Steadfast too, which means it is immune to Butcher. No swings. It's not immune to Explosion, though. I'll fine-tune my deck while I wait. I always have trouble with how much removal. That is a delicate balance. Alright, so this may be wrong, but I'm going to greed and hold the Dread Apprentice until I can scrounge for it. But the specter of consistent health gain being online now is pretty terrifying. Alright, so Mesa Totem is displayed but not pumped. No swings. We got nothing to do but get our Dreadling game going. I think this deck has fulfilled its role pretty well as the first roll of the deck. It has the potential to be explosive and provide some challenge. It has defeated people at the beginning before, for sure. but it also doesn't have an oppressive win rate so that people are able to move on and get a little bit deeper. So this is trouble. Still no swing. They want to go for the death blow here. Alright, let's grab blood. Okay, so Explosion does what? It gives something -3/-3 permanently, which doesn't help with the Ghost Howler. Doesn't help with that. Probably the best thing to get rid of is that, because the Swift Strike enables everything else to get bigger. I was going to tell you, though, the difficulty level of the dungeon seemed great when I was playing. I always felt like the next fight was more difficult. Okay, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I was intending to go for. But these are decks. This entire dungeon is 21 decks that had been used in earlier dungeons. I didn't make any new decks. I did tweak a few of them a little bit to make some of them harder. But I kind of had to look at all the decks I had and then try to figure out a relative level of difficulty. And then juggle all of those decks around, not only so that you weren't playing like Ada twice in a row or playing 3 wild decks in a row or something, but also so that you're not facing obscenely difficult decks right off the bat. So Dream Guide brings back a troop with cost 1 from the crypt and makes it flyer, so they get the conscript trigger again. And I think this is the list that I think it was it Bernhilder, I think, was the one who took down Functions Tournament. So we're gonna... I don't think it's worth charge powering here. We are just going to get overrun. Is that... The health gain triggers haven't shown... Talking is hard. The health gain triggers haven't shown up yet, or this deck would just be going bananas by now. We do have 3 butchers in hand, but those are only useful once a troop has swung in. Wakizashi Ambusher is conscripted, so that'll give -2/-2. So that can basically take out a Dread Apprentice for free. And that leaves us with a 1/1 Pro Boar pair, which is going to die at the start of our next turn, and a single solitary 3/2 Dread Apprentice. I think I'd go ahead and let that hit and maybe use a butcher on it. Our troop situation, though, is kind of suboptimal, shall we say. We're playing with a thin bench. For all those of you tuning in, I think most of you have been around for a good chunk of the evening stream, but for anybody just tuning in, you are watching Dungeon Masters of Entrath, the Hex game show I host every Wednesday night on my channel for 3 hours from 7 to 10 p.m. Central, because I'm based in Minnesota. If you're on the West Coast, that's 5 to 8 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, that's 8 to 11, where we do special dungeons every week with unique themes and rules, trying to bring a little bit of PvE flavor to PvP shenanigans. You can win a little bit of fun prizes. I try to keep the stream very laid back and fun. You know, this is not meant to be a super competitive stream. It's about, you know, fun shenanigans and seeing what kind of weird and crazy things we can make happen. Earlier tonight we had the first of the 4 pillars of this dungeon fall. 3 still remain. Thank you for the follow, Natalik/Adir, who was our champion earlier in the evening. Alright, so we killed 2 things for pride, but we're still dead on board. So that's 3, 4, yeah, we're still dead. Duplicitous Duke is the conscription hit. Oh, yeah, onto the lackey. Which I think works. Yep. Gets another one, gets a conscription. That's so nasty. Alright, so Tharaz is down. And the dungeon map looks like this. Pillar 4 was taken out. Dungeon Room 12 was taken out. But the other 3 pillars and the other 3 bonus rooms remain intact. And so now the $1 million question from Chadatog is which direction they want to go. Yes, you get to choose where you want to go. So you could go, you know, to get to Pillar 3, for example, you can choose Room 3 or Room 5. And both of those would set you on the path towards Pillar 3. You choose 2. Okay. So then from 2, bonus room 10 is available, or swing up towards Pillar 1 or down towards Pillar 2. So we will do room 2 next. Alright, I'm going to remember to take off the map in a timely fashion this time. And this is room 2. Oh, I need you to challenge me or send me a whisper so I can challenge you. Alright, this is the deck. I do also upload these streams after the fact. Part of the terms and conditions of being a Twitch affiliate and being able to get bits is that content has to remain exclusive to Twitch for 24 hours. Since my stream wraps up at 10, I don't try to upload those on Thursday. So on Friday, I would upload a Wednesday stream to YouTube where it's kind of preserved, archived, available for review whenever. So, Eager Lackey is a horrible target for time ripples. We don't want to let you get a cheap troop back in hand to conscript again. But we can throw down the Flock of Seagulls as the ultimate chump blocker, and we also have Thunderbird to start raging in for some damage. Then air superiority can buff up aerial troops. Alright, pulled Cloud Runner, still missing a diamond threshold. Phoenix, what is up? Welcome in. We are on like our 5th or 6th challenger of the evening. I have certifiably lost count. But one of the this dungeon basically has 4 final bosses, and one of the 4 has fallen. And we have our favorite target for Flock of Seagulls here. Flock of Seagulls is an older card for those of you who may not be familiar with it. It's flight and defensive, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to that. So Flock of Seagulls can stand in front of anything it wants all day long, and it just goes, ha ha, that tickles. So I guess I'm thinking Thunderbird now, so we have the ability to start trying to crash in. And we need a diamond threshold to be able to use the Fiona's charge power. So basically, right now it's kind of eat 3, block the Righteous Paladin. That's going to be problematic. That would be a decent candidate for Time Ripple. As with that, although that's the Righteous Paladin is so cheap, it's pretty easy to get it back. Alright, so we're still lacking in the Diamond Threshold department. I think I'm gonna ham aggro here. I better get area superiority out for pre-combat here, so I don't miss that point of damage. And now we start getting into the delay game and try to slow down what's happening over here to buy more time for our Thunderhawks. And I suppose we should not let it go any longer without comment. Those are Hero Fall sleeves. Very, very nice animated alternate art Hero Fall sleeves. Ooh, that shifted, wait, what? Unblockable. Wow. What a conscript hit. Shadestalker onto this. So that's 8 damage that gets around. That completely doesn't care about Flight of, or Flock of Seagulls. It's just, bam. We do have a way to deal with that, though. It's called Time Ripple. Which is a quick action. So that's still Decree of Banishing on what? Probably have to let it happen. Yeah, there goes Flock of Seagulls. Alright, Pious Paladin, everything. Oh, dear lord. We're dead. We can only Time Ripple one thing. That's so nasty. Fiona Honeyfinch gets her wings clipped. We're gonna see a new deck. So that was room number 2. So from here, Chattahog has the choice of bonus room 10 or swinging north or south here to 6 or 9. I heard that the trailer was released. I came home to just in time for the Hex dev stream. And then after the Hex dev stream, I was basically getting ready for Dungeon Masters of Entrath and doing the stream. I haven't had time to see the Game of Thrones trailer yet. We're going to room 6. Okay. 6. Alright, I know which deck that is. I need you to send a challenge or a whisper. Oh my god, Netflix has a Castlevania series? What am I doing? I'm doing spooters. I want to win with all the spooters. This is so close to being perfect. If only it had a sapphire threshold. Ask Webguard, Rizix, it's got a Skitter, Azurfang kill. I want to risk for the Bisque and keep this. Really lament the fact that there's not a sapphire shard in here. Alright, so we want to see a sapphire shard. It's not a sapphire shard. Does at least get us on track to other things. Alright, we do have a kill for that, which is nice. Okay, we found our sapphire shard. We're doing alright. Put some spiderling eggs in the deck. And now I think the play is just to sit to kill the Righteous Paladin, because that's one of the strongest threats in the deck. With that not far behind. Okay, so 4 resources. Can only play one thing. I think it's Skitter the Arachnid first. Next turn, the Nosk Webguard into a shard, and then throw down the Azurfang Decree to try to fish out some of those eggs. No wild threshold over there. That's worth noting. Alright, so now let's see if we hit any spooters. Got one. Also took out an Ivory Pawn, a Ghost Howler, 2 wild shards, which were needed. There might be a logjam of cards there where everything that's left in the hand needs, well, okay, not that, but needs some wild threshold to get going. So we've got our own unblockable here. But probably need to protect our health total. Throw some more eggs in the deck and then pass that on. Okay, and just to give fair notice to, I think Wingspear had mentioned this, and a couple other people too had said they might be around. I'm pretty confident Chatatog's dungeon run here is going to be our last of the night because it's 10 to 10 now. So if Chatatog wins, there could be 1 to 2 more games on the dungeon path, and that's going to push us past my normal end time. So this will probably be the final run for the week. And I think we can kiss Rizix goodbye. That's gonna make that get big. Shard was not the ideal. So I guess we gotta play fish for eggs and leave a spider to block the worst of it. Doing a lot for not having any wild threshold. There comes an Adamanthian Scrivener again. All the triggers, it's now a 10-4 Swift Striker. This is why you leave a spider. Because I was... Oh, that wouldn't get even bigger. Chicken curry, that sounds good. I love curry. I don't love drawing shards when I don't have much of a board. Can't give up everything for... Yeah, see, we wouldn't hit a spider egg. So we're probably dead here. Filipino curry, so not as spicy. There's a lot of varieties to curry. I tend to prefer the not set my mouth on fire kinds. Okay, so we can reap. We can reap that and gain diamond threshold. I think it's too little, too late. Also, why is I should edit this deck. I don't know why reap is still in here in the age where we have Strangle as a thing now. Reap should have been yanked for Strangle, but this deck is old. From Japan to Thailand to India, I had a ton of curry when I studied abroad in Japan. Whenever I was studying abroad at the cafeteria and I didn't understand what something was on the menu was, and it freaked me out a little bit, I just ordered the curry. If the curry doesn't burn a hole through my spoon, I send it back. That sounds tragic, and I would not. I'm just gonna sit over here and nibble on a couple almonds. Want to make a fat man hungry? Just talk about curry. Okay, so That deck has fallen, and we're now on the linear path. Up next is 15, and then the final battle is 19. So I know what 15 is. Alright. I am ready for the challenge. I know which deck I need to pick. Get more gold. All the gold. That's not the deck. I almost made a mistake. Must get all the kitty things. I'm also going to be trying to get all the kitty things. And then if I have spares of the kitty things, I might include some of my spares in the kitty things as Dungeon Master's prizes. So this deck kinda needed the extra power I put into it in the opening hand. I think against a health gain deck, this is actually a pretty poor matchup for this deck. This deck is known as the One Shard Wonder. Every single card in the deck costs 1. So this deck is one I actually dialed up the power on by adding I added some Pack Raptors and the Gas Trolls and a couple other things to it. Oh hey, there. Speaking of, yeah, all the dang kitties are PvE. Kicking around ideas in my head for a dungeon that's the many flavors of Jankbot. Where basically it's a Jankbot dungeon where you have to either have a Jankbot or at least 150 card decks. We're going to drop this shard because that puts us one off of giving all of these troops a +1/+1 pump. And, ooh, Chatatog's in trouble here. I'd be happy to have a format that allowed PvE cards and mercenaries with equipment, especially for things like this. Yep. That would dramatically increase the toolbox of things I would have available for dungeon creation. Alright, so that puts 2 blockers in play. Okay, the card drawn is Burn. Burn could take out Eager Lackey. That gives Gas Troll another point. That's 4, I think. I think that's lethal. Yeah, it usually can make stuff OP broken, yeah. Raven Talent does get taken out by the One Shard Wonder. GG's Chatatog. Give him a round of applause when he is back in chat. One deck short of reaching a pillar. Alright, so we're going to add on 1 to the counter. And we're going to add in Elder of Lost Ages to the pool. So it's now a Scars of War booster, 5,000 gold, Academy of Cerulean, Wayfaring Conqueror, and Elder of Lost Ages. Yeah, that deck is pretty cheap. You know, 2 drops, 3 drops. It seemed a little off that I was able to swing through as pretty unopposed with a bunch of one drops. But yeah, so again, this is Dungeon Masters of Entrath, which I do every Wednesday night. I need to take a look at my social calendar because this coming up weekend is a holiday weekend, so I don't want to commit to this as a certainty yet. But if I am not spoken for on Sunday night, then I may do an extra special bonus Dungeon Masters of Entrath stream immediately following the conclusion of Alucard's Extravaganza, assuming he's doing a Hextravaganza this weekend. But again, it's a holiday weekend. I could end up out of town or hanging out with people, so I don't want to commit to that yet. I will announce on my Twitter, which is also ThronOmega. Not sure if you did it already, but yeah, I will announce on Twitter if I am going live on Sunday for Dungeon Masters. I did reset. If you're talking about the prize list, I did reset that. I turned the counter to 0. I did current prize pool, and then I basically took the existing prize pool and just pushed it deep down on the page so that I would not forget what I need to send out. So I will send out prizes immediately after the stream here. I can spare a couple minutes for that, so that everything is delivered to this evening's champion, Adir. Which, again, to recap, that would be 1 Evo pack from defeating the bonus room, and then 2 Scars of War boosters, 11,000 gold, Deep Gaze Champion, Zodiac Crowfeather, All in the Family, and an MC Etcher. Not bad. So that'll do it for me for tonight. Appreciate you all hanging out. Appreciate all the new followers tonight. Was great to hang out. Hope to see you all next weekend in future streams. Take care, everybody.